Good day, everyone. We're about to begin our Assessment Center or AC group exercises. Group exercises at assessment centers are measuring your ability to work in a team, contribute, delegate, and solve problems. Assessors are looking for candidates who can listen to other people's ideas, be positive, and articulate their own ideas. In short, they measure the skills which are useful in a real working environment. Hopefully, you can see why an assessment center is more useful to the employer than a simple interview. How else would you find out that they have a worrying tendency to start sucking when colleagues disagree with you? Remember, you can be marked only for what the assessors see. If you have good thoughts, make sure you articulate it. If you notice a member of the group is getting ignored, make a point of asking them their thoughts. This will score you points for demonstrating fairness and collaborative team working skills. During the case study, the group at your assessment center will be presented with a scenario or a business problem. It might be a struggling supermarket that needs a way to survive. It might be a natural disaster which needs cleaning up and dealing with. The scenarios are varied, but whatever the exercises is, it will require teamwork and collaborative discussion with the other candidates at your assessment center. The group exercise will have an assessor in the room. Try to ignore them and certainly don't engage them. The assessor will be watching to see if you can participate in group negotiations. Think on your feet. Behave courteously towards your peers. Act confidently without being dominant and encouraging of others in your group. Overall, they are assessing how will you perform in everyday working life, which involves getting on with people in a group. Often, discrete cameras are recording the exercises so that your performances can be rewatched by assessors. One of the first things candidates might be faced with at the assessment center is an icebreaker exercise. The most common format for this is to ask the assessment center attendees to spend 5 to 10 minutes finding out about the person next to them, and then tell the rest of the group about that person. A twist on the classic, tell everyone a little about yourself. This is a good way to get candidates chatting to each other and for the group to feel more familiar with everyone. Other typical icebreaker exercises include tell the group something about yourself which not many people know, or tell the group something interesting about yourself. Try to chat to become familiar with the other candidates at the assessment center. Perhaps at the lunch or meet and greet sessions. This will help you relax in the group exercises and will increase your confidence in negotiating with them. Treat this time as a good warm-up exercise because there will not be any remarks riding on this exercise. This is a good time to project on other candidates that you're a friendly, approachable person to talk to because you want them on your side during the exercises. A good way of showing professionalism and courtesy is to use people's names during the group exercise. To perform well in a group exercise, it helps to know what the assessor is looking for. It's worth saying straight away that they probably are not looking for someone who dominates proceedings. Many candidates at an assessment center fall into the trap of wanting to own the conversation and speak for the longest regardless of the quality of their contribution. This will not get you many marks. In fact, you will get a lot more marks by tactfully getting those types of people to shut up for a minute and let others contribute. What assessors look for. Throughout the assessment center, try to keep in mind how you would behave in a business environment. The assessors are essentially measuring how well you would contribute to the employee's business. Before any assessment center group exercise, think about how you come across in relation to the following qualities. Number 1, are you taking on board everyone's input? Number 2, what balance do you strike between letting go insignificant asides and making sure everyone agrees on important issues? Number 3, how do you deal with quiet people? Number 4, would the discussion benefit from some structure and how are you for time? Number 5, are you talking for talking's sake? Has your contribution helped solve the problem? Number 6, do you criticize or encourage input from others? Number 7, how convincing are you? Do you speak with conviction? Number 8, can you think on your feet when presented with an issue? Number 9, can you recognize a good idea? And how do you tactfully deal with weak ideas? Number 10, do you take time to contemplate the problem or are you too busy talking? And number 11, have the group strayed from the original exercise brief? Whilst it is important to demonstrate your abilities, try to forget the assessors are there. Candidates who look at the assessors or play up their actions are at risk of exaggerating their true attributes, and it doesn't reflect well. Most candidates find they get involved in the assessment center exercises that they actually forget the assessors are there. Whilst marks are available for team working skills, lots of marks are awarded for contributing genuinely good ideas to the discussion. Think of a good point and make it. In most group exercises, the candidates are deliberately not assigned a particular role. This is done to see who naturally is a leader, a facilitator, an ideas generator, etc. Remember that the assessors are not looking for a person who shouts the loudest or talks the most. The type of behavior they are looking for will depend on what competencies the company has decided are important. Think of a valuable point to make it and avoid being either the loud and shouty one or the quiet and subservient one. In other assessment center group activities, candidates are sometimes assigned roles such as coordinator, client, regulator, or chairman. In these cases, make sure you stick to your role and try to negotiate the best outcome for your character. At some point in the real job, you will inevitably have to fight for a view not necessarily held by you. This assessment center exercise is designed to measure how good are you at this. Treat other candidates as though they are future colleagues. This will improve your rapport with the group and prevent you falling into the trap of thinking you're in a competition with them. If the exercise does not stipulate specific roles to individuals, be careful not to tell other candidates what role they should adopt. You will be seen as bossy if you say you should be the presenter. Instead, try, does anyone have any strong feelings about being the presenter? And wait for volunteers. It is poor leadership to assign roles to people before you have any idea of their skills, so avoid it. Group exercises are often video recorded. It should be easy to forget about the cameras because they will be discreet. In all group exercises, try to avoid ending up as the scribe. It is tempting to offer to write minutes of the group exercise, but the danger with this is that you divert time and attention away from showing the assessors what you are like. Does the task actually require any written record of your group discussions? Often, there is no need to have written content in the outcome of the group exercise. What matters is agreeing on a decision, in which case, just jot down a few bullet points to help talk through your findings, nothing more. If you end up as a scribe, make sure to capture the discussion of the group, not just your own thoughts. What will you be assessed at a group exercise? The group exercise at an assessment center will be observed by recruitment staff. The performance of each individual member will be strictly assessed and almost certainly rated in relation to a set of performance criteria or key competencies such as leadership, enthusiasm, or persuasiveness. Crucially, your assessors will be looking for evidence of logical arguments and strong communication skills, teamwork, confidence, strength of character, commercial awareness. What will you be assessed on at a group exercise? It is very important that you are not overbearing and don't interrupt others. You are clear, concise, and confident. You are consistently positive in your approach and don't criticize or moan. You include others and make sure everybody in the group has an equal opportunity to speak. You make your points and if criticized are prepared to stand up for yourself and diplomatically argue why your opinions are valid. You do not sit quietly while other candidates make their own points without making your own. The group reaches a conclusion in the time allocated. Finding a way to stand out from the others is not easy, but represent the key to success. How to be a top performer in a group exercise. Be inclusive and self-assess yourself about halfway through the interview. You need to contribute, otherwise interviewers will not be able to assess you. If you know that you are prone to being quiet or quiet dominant in a group, you may need to moderate your communication so that you will include yourself and other people. Make sure that you follow the instructions that are given to you at the start of the exercise. Ensure that you link information back to the brief that you are given. Try and prioritize and watch the time, but also make sure that you are accurate. It may be sensible not to use other people's names during the exercise unless you are 100% sure that you are correct. Try to show your understanding of the firm's services by relating this to the project. If possible, do not make obvious but try to work the room, involving everyone and motivating other people. If available, use the whiteboard and try to establish leadership role early on. Bring other people into the discussion by passing ideas around. Stay focused on the objective and make it known that you are aware of the amount of time left and that there is deadline. If you can, try to dictate the pace of the discussion in your favor. Be confident and enthusiastic and think carefully about your ideas before you voice them. Tip: one of the surest way to improve performance on the day is to get very familiar with how group exercises are structured. Your competency will get better and you'll feel less anxious in the real situation. Types of group exercise. Case study exercise. You'll be given a brief based on a realistic business scenario with certain challenges to overcome. Different members of the group may be told to act in a particular way or represent a particular department as part of their brief. The aim is for the group to reach a satisfactory conclusion that the majority of the participants are happy with. Leadership exercise. If the company you are applying to is especially interested in the leadership qualities of its candidates, you may be asked to take it in turns to chair a role-play meeting or lead a discussion group. The key here is not to be too overbearing. You need to recognize the strong points of others in the team and delegate appropriately. Choose the best person for each task and monitor rather than trying to get involved in everything. Discussion exercise. This more informal task is self-explanatory. Participants sit together and discuss specific topics, often news-based. As such, it's always a good idea to read the regular news and financial news before the assessment center. Be sure to listen carefully to what others say and make insightful replies. Don't be critical of others' opinions. For the first-line managerial positions, individuals applying for managerial positions may be administered either assigned or unassigned role group exercise, depending on the task that they will be required to perform for the specific job position. Unassigned role group exercise for managerial levels. For individuals who have applied for the first-line managerial jobs, the unassigned role group exercises may contain briefs that may require them to take decisions based on complications at the workplace. The problems will usually relate to the managerial roles that the participants will be fulfilling at the company if selected. All the participants have to work together as a team, analyze the given briefs, lay forward their deductions, and arrive at a unanimous solution. They may also be asked to present their solution at the end of the exercise to the assessors. Assigned role group exercise for managerial levels. Candidates who are appearing for the position of first-line managers can also be administered an assigned role group exercise if needed. All the participants in the exercise will be provided with their distinct briefs or dossiers. The subject of all the dossiers may be the same, but with a few distinct details. For example, all the participants may be assigned the position of managers in the production department of a car manufacturing company, and each of them may be asked to represent a distinct car model. In such a scenario, each participant may push forward their own respective product by comparing it to the product being presented by other participants and evaluating them on various parameters that may include feasibility, market demand, expenditure incurred, and revenue generated. Executive and top-level job positions. For selecting the right candidates for the executive and top-level job positions, some companies make use of assigned role group exercises. Just like the managerial positions, the candidates are given a distinct dossier and each of them may have to advocate the agenda assigned to them. The role that they will be playing or the decision that they will be required to take will be of significance and will have a major influence on the organization. This will generally include decisions that might be taken by a board of directors. Every candidate may have to compete for the agenda given in their briefs and may try to impress upon other participants for their own cause. Thank you very much for watching and listening to this video on Assessment Center, focusing on group exercises.